let us head towards understanding the data types in C programming language. So basically, what are data types? The type of data that a variable can hold. Now what is our variable? As we have discussed, it is the quantity whose value changes during the execution of a C program. And we have seen in the syntax of declaring a variable that we have to specify the type of data the programmer is using. So in C programming language, basically the data types are divided into three important categories. The first important category is built-in data types. Second, derived data types. And third, we have user-defined data types. So these are broad categories of data types. Now we will be discussing in detail about the built-in data types because they are most fundamental and basic, and we will be using this in our programs. The built-in data types, that means already they are present in my C compiler. They are the very basic and primitive ones. There are four important types in my built-in data types. The very first are integers. We have discussed integers are nothing but numbers, sequence of numbers used without the decimal point. So we have integers. Next, real or floating point numbers. Floating point means nothing but decimal numbers. Okay, so these are nothing but decimal numbers. Then we have double precision real number. Double precision means for this floating point number we are adding more precision. That means suppose if I have a decimal value here 2.32678. Okay, I cannot go more than this 9. Maximum 6 digits are allowed after decimal where in floating point. But suppose I want to add more, then this does not come under floating point data type. We have to add more precision, so we go for double precision real number. Next, last we have characters data type. Character means what? Simply we are making use of characters like A or capital A, 1, 2, symbols, anything you can use in character provided it should be in single quotations. So character data types can be a single character or it can be string of characters. If we are using string, then it has to be in double quotations. So in character data types, either we have single character or we have string of characters. Now every data that is held by the variable will be having certain size. Let's discuss that. Now suppose this is my memory. In this memory there are so many sections in my computer memory. Now whenever I will create a particular variable, what will happen? A memory location will get fixed. So suppose if I am creating a variable by name A, then what will happen? It will fix the space in the memory. Suppose I am creating one more variable B, then this B will also fix the space in memory. So whenever we are declaring variable, actually what is happening? Those variables will save the spaces in the memory. Best example to understand this is you take train. Have you all traveled by train? Obviously you have traveled. Now in train, if you are traveling, you need to have tickets, right? Can you travel without ticket? That is seriously optional if you go for general bogie, but I am talking about reserved bogie. Suppose you are having reserved bogie, there are certain limits. Okay, there are suppose 50 seats. Now if you want to travel through this train, then you have to reserve your ticket. So when you reserve your ticket, what do you give? You give your name, age and date of traveling. Okay, also you will be having some proof. Let us take just two things. One is name and age. So these two are nothing but variables. So when you declare a variable, when you declare your name, one ticket will be booked. Okay, so other person will also come, he will also book the tickets. Why you require booking of tickets? Because there is a limit that you are having only 50 seats. Can you exceed this? No, not allowed. So similarly, whenever you are writing a C program, that time the computer should know that how much of memory space is required for that particular program. For that reason, you are declaring the variable with the data type, and then the spaces will be allocated in this manner. Once you allocate the space, whatever value you are providing in the assignment statement, next you will be providing the value, right? Suppose I am providing A is equal to 10. What will happen? The value of 10 is stored here. Next, suppose I take B, the value of B is 20. Then where it will be stored? It will be stored in this memory. So this is what happens in the main memory when you are writing the program, when you are declaring. This is how it happens in the computer. If you declare a variable, then A will reserve space for itself, and then whenever you are assigning a particular value, that value will come and sit here. Okay, so when you are booking ticket by your name, then who will go and sit? You will go and sit, or your some friend or someone will go and sit? No, you have to go and sit, right? So that is what you have. Always, friends, try to relate the programming concepts with your real life problems. You will definitely remember them throughout. So whenever variable term comes, try to remember the train tickets. You will be always thorough with it. Now every data type takes certain amount of memory space. Okay, so how much memory space does it take? Let us discuss them. Now first of all, what are the keywords used? The keyword used for integer value is int, int. Okay, this is the keyword we use. For floating point numbers, we use float, FLOT. For double precision real numbers, we use double. And for characters, we use simply char. So these are the keywords we are using for different data types. Now let us see how much of space they take. Okay, so let us discuss how much of memory they take. My integer will take 2 bytes. Okay, then we have floating point. Floating point numbers take 4 bytes. Double values take 8 bytes. And the smallest byte taken is by characters. It just consumes 1 byte. So this is the space taken by different data types. I hope you know about bytes, but anyhow let me explain what is byte. 1 byte is equal to 8 bits. Okay, now discussing about the range of values. Range of values that can be accommodated by the data types. First, let us discuss about integer. So how much integer value will take space? It will take 2 bytes as we have discussed. So for a 8-bit computer, the integer number value ranges in between -2 to the power of 8 minus 1 up to +2 to the power of 8 minus 1 minus 1. Now let me explain this line to you. You must have seen in your textbooks also the range. So today we will understand in a simplest way what is this values. Now what is the meaning of 8-bit computer? 8-bit computer means my computer can take 8 bits for data processing. Okay, so suppose I am having some data, so only 8 bits are taken at a time and processed by the computer. It cannot take more than 8 bits. So that is my 8-bit computer. So in this 8-bit computer, how much range of numbers can be accommodated? We can have 2 to the power of 8. That is nothing but how much? 256. Okay, so 2 to the power 8 means 256. That means total 256 numbers are allowed. Now this 256 numbers means it will be from the range 0 to 255. So this is the range of values. So if I am having a 8-bit computer, I can use numbers from 0, or I can use 142, or I can use 250, I can use 255, but I cannot exceed 260. This is not allowed because my computer is what, 8-bit, and how many values are allowed? Only up to 255 values are allowed. This is the general logic what you have. Always take it binary, 2 to the power of 8. These all comes under binary numbers. So 2 to the power of 8 you take for 8-bit computer. Suppose I am having a 16-bit computer. So if I am having 16-bit computer, then what will be the values? I will have 2 to the power of 16. So how much will be 2 to the power of 16? 65,536. Okay, 2 to the power of 16. So what will be the range? It will be from 0 to 65,535. So in total, how many numbers I can have? 65,536 numbers I can have. But since the starting number is 0, I will take up to, what will be the range of values I can use? I can use from 0 to 65,535. So if I use 50,000 as an integer, this is also allowed. But if I use 70,000, then it is not allowed. What will do, ma'am, if we are having less number or greater number which is not allowed? For that we will be having some special data qualifiers that we will be studying later. Now I have mentioned you total how many values, how much space is available. If it is a 16-bit computer, this much space is available. Okay, and if it is a 8-bit computer, then this much space is available. Now suppose I am using plus or minus. Yes, in integers we can use either plus or minus. In that case, what will happen? We have to divide this by 2. Okay, so total I am having space of 256. Okay, so in this space now I have to divide. If I divide by 2, what will be the value? 128. So I have here 128 bits, here 128 bits. So here maximum I can use in between from 0 to minus 128 will be the maximum I can go. And how much can I stretch? I can stretch up to plus 127 maximum. That is why we have written here. Now you try to relate this with here. Why we have written minus 2 to the power of 8 minus 1, that is nothing but, what will be the value of this? This is nothing but minus 2 to the power of 7. And this is 127, that is nothing but plus 2 to the power of 8 minus 1 is nothing but 7 minus 1. 2 to the power of 7 is 128 minus 1, that is this. So this is how it has been derived. Also let me discuss about 2 to the power of 16. If you are having 2 to the power of 16, again these bits will be divided. So it will be what? Divided means again we will have range of 32,768 for negative, and for positive it will be 32,767. So this will be the range of number for 16-bit computer. That means 16 bits are taken. You can go for higher. Nowadays you are having higher version, you are having 32-bit computer also. You can calculate for that. Okay, so this will be your homework. Now let us discuss the range of values for floating point numbers. So floating point numbers are basically my decimal numbers. Now these floating point numbers can be expressed in two forms. One is we can have normal decimal notation. Okay, that means you are having the fixed form. Okay, decimal form is also called as fixed form, or you can have a scientific notation. So these are the two ways of expressing float numbers. Now in decimal values you have simple examples, like you have 272.48, okay, or we have 12.5. So these are all simple decimal numbers. But what are the scientific notations? Scientific notations are also called as mantissa exponent form. So here we are making use of exponent value which is represented by E. Now this example is decimal form 263.238. Now I will convert this value in scientific notation. So let me shift this decimal point. I will write 2.6 63238. What have I done? I have just shifted this decimal values towards the left by 2 digits. So, if I write in general mathematics, I can write this as simply 10 to the power of 2. See, if I shift towards right side, 2632.38. Now, first I shifted towards left 2 digits. So, I have written into 10 to the power of 2. If I shift towards right 2 digits, okay, then what will be the value? 10 to the power of minus 2. So, this is how you write in general mathematics. Here for the scientific notation, we will be making use of E. So, we write E plus 02, and for this we write E minus 02. This is how we have the scientific notations. So, let me just write down here. This will be E plus 02. This will be E minus 02. One more example I will give you. Now, what I have done? I have shifted this decimal point for 362 and one more value I have added. So, I have shifted this how many? 4 places I have shifted. So, I will be having, since it is towards the left, it will be plus or minus? It will be plus. If it is towards right, then minus. So, E plus 04, because 4 digits I have shifted. Initially the decimal point was here, I have shifted 4 digits. So, E plus 04. For your better understanding purpose, let me take one more example. So, here in this value I am having 10 zeros, then I am having 1, 2. Now, suppose I want to write this value as 1.2. Okay, so can you tell me it should be multiplied with what value? 10 to the power of? The decimal point is this side. I am going to shift it towards right side. So, whenever we are shifting towards right side, it will be negative number. So, minus 11, because I am having here 10 digits and then this is 11. After 11 digits, I am putting dot. Okay, so that is why I am taking 10 to the power of minus 11. Now, this one, if I want to express in a scientific notation in my C programming, I just simply have to say 1.2 E minus 11. So, this is how we are using the floating data types. Now, discussing the range of floating values. How many bytes does the float take? My float is taking 4 bytes. Okay. So, for the 4 bytes, how much range I have is, I will be having minus 3.4 E plus 48 up to plus 3.4 E plus 48. I hope you are understanding now the notation of E. That means it is minus 3.4 into 10 to the power of 48. Okay. So, this is the range of values for the float number. Sometimes the data type what we are using is not satisfying the requirement of the user. For example, the integer is having a particular range of values, so only in that range it is available. If I want to use higher values, then it is not available. For that purpose, we are having special data type modifiers in the C programming language. These modifiers are also called as qualifiers. This is one of the important questions which will be asked after data types. What are the different data type qualifiers, or what are the different data type modifiers? So, here we are having 4 types of modifiers: signed, unsigned, long, short. So, what are signed and unsigned? Signed means we are having always positive and negative values for signed data type modifiers. For unsigned, we are not having sign specified, so it is always positive values. For example, if I take the range of values for integers, normally how much is the value? It is minus 128 up to plus 127. So, these are the values. So, this comes under signed category. If I take unsigned, that means they are always positive, only positive values are allowed. So the range will be from 0 to 255. So try to understand the difference. If I am making use of signed integers, then the value will be from negative to positive. If it is unsigned, whenever I mention unsigned, that means the user cannot use positive or negative values, only positive values are allowed. That is why he can use up to 255. See, they both are taking the same bytes. If I say signed int, okay, if I say signed int x value, and if I say unsigned int x value. Now see the difference. If I say signed integer x value, then the value of x can be in this range, minus 128 to 127. I cannot assign the value of 200 for this. Okay, but suppose if I am saying this x as unsigned int, then my value of 200 is acceptable. So this is why we are making use of qualifiers. Next comes long and short. Now suppose I want to increase the size in bytes for integer value. So integer value is taking how many? 2 bytes. So if I say long int, then what will happen? This long integer can take 4 bytes. 4 bytes of data is available if I say long. Listen, shorten the length of data. That means if I am using very small values, then I can just mention short int. This will be for small values of data. So we have long and short. Long will increase the size and short will decrease the size. That means it will not occupy 2 bytes. Less than 2 bytes will be occupied by this short values. So for all these we can use either integer values or we can use character. I can say signed int, unsigned int, long int, short int. So these all values are assigned for integer and also for characters. Sometimes even for double values we can make use of long double. So actually double is taking how much size? Double value is taking 8 bytes of data. But if I mention long double, then it will take 10 bytes of data. So it will increase. If I say long, it will increase the size by 2 bytes. This is why we are making use of these kind of modifiers. So this is the list of data type modifiers, how much size it is taking and the range of values. I want you to please go through this table once. And if you have any doubt, please mention it in the comment section. Now let us discuss about declaring a variable as either a constant or volatile. Now you must have been thorough with the meaning of constant. That means the value is fixed. For example, suppose I want to write area of a circle. How do I do that? Area of circle is nothing but pi r square. Now in program, how do we write this? We can just write pi r into r. Yes, so the value of pi is what? It is fixed, 3.142. I can use any time the value of pi will be constant. It will not change. So whenever I am declaring the value of pi, I can just simply say const float pi is equal to 3.142. So this is how I will be declaring a variable with the keyword const. So if I mention const for this pi, then its value will never change. Sometimes what happens when you are writing a program, that time the value will be changing. If I don't mention const, then if the programmer is using pi values in different locations, then sometimes the value can change, but I do not want this value to be changed. So that is why I will mention the const keyword. This is very important interview question. If you want to keep the value of a particular variable fixed, then we will make use of const keyword. Volatile is used to change the value. Sometimes we will change the variable value. You can just simply declare a variable, example integer x, it is fine, but sometimes due to some external factors we have to change the value of x, so you can just mention volatile. If I say volatile integer x, that means you are fully free to change the value of x. Even if you don't use, it's okay, but sometimes due to external factors, if the value of x changes, so you just mention volatile. Now let us discuss about symbolic constants. Symbolic constants are nothing but the names given to either integer constants or character constants. So for any constants, if we are specifying a particular name, then that is called as symbolic constant. Let us understand this with an example. As previously discussed, to find area of a circle, we are having a value of pi, that is 3.142. So instead of every time using the value 3.142, what I can use is, I can just simply define this value in the preprocessor directive statement. Okay, so I define preprocessor directive hash define, and then I mention pi. I am giving the name for this value. This is a integer constant value. So for this value, I am giving name pi. I will mention 3.142 semicolon. So this is a preprocessor directive. Where do we mention the preprocessor directives? Always above the main function. So before my main function starts, I will mention hash define pi 3.142. Now when I am writing a program, I just have to declare the radius, just int radius value, then that is sufficient. So when I am calculating the value of area, so float area is equal to, instead of writing 3.142, I can just say pi star radius star radius. So this is how we can make use of symbolic constant. Not just any integer values. Suppose if I am having some character constants as well. For some character constants, I can just say, suppose I want to write the name of a person. If I have name, okay, I want to define name. Whenever I am saying name, then it should take the value Priya, wherever I use in my program. So for that purpose, we can just simply say hash define name. I can write Priya. So whenever I say name, the value taken will be Priya. Suppose example, if I say hello I am, instead of saying Priya, I just say name. So if I say this, what will be my output? My output will be hello I am. Instead of name, it will take what? Priya. So directly it will take this value. So these are the character constants, or we can say it as a string constants. We will be using these symbolic constants in our programs. That time again I will explain back to you, but just try to remember what is the meaning of symbolic constant. First important point is they are written in preprocessor directive. First important point. Second important point is always we write it with the hash define. Third important point, usually they are written in uppercase, because it is a good programming practice. See, I have written in uppercase. And fourth important point, always it comes before main function. So these are the four important points with respect to symbolic constant. So our last topic of discussion for this session is multiple assignment statement. Multiple assignments means what? Example, suppose I am having three integer values x, y and z. So I am having three variable values. Now instead of individually assigning the values x is equal to 10, y is equal to 10, z is equal to 10, all these three variables are having same values. Instead of using multiple lines, what I will do is only in single line I can declare the values. So I can just say integer x is equal to y is equal to z equal to 10. I hope you enjoyed today's session. If you have any doubts, then please write to me on my email ID or mention in the comment section below. If you want any particular topic to be covered, then please let me know. If you like my videos, then please hit the like button, do share and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much, friends.